You live? You recording?
Yes.
All right. Welcome, Julie. The first thing that we usually do on the show is we're gonna go one word at a time. So I'm gonna say a word, you're gonna say a word, and we're gonna go back and forth, and we're gonna make a full sentence together.
Okay.
That's the first activity of the evening.
Okay.
Egg.
Jed.
The
Wizard.
is
Driving.
down.
Chinatown.
USA.
Sure.
There we are. So what I'm going to do afterward is I'm going to take that and I'm going to use that to sync our audio up.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Suddenly it
Really
makes much
funny.
more sense.
Yeah, so why don't you introduce yourself to everybody, the ladies and folks at home here.
Alrighty. This is Julie Hoverson. I am the creator, producer, writer. I call it the diva of 19 Nocturne Boulevard. I mean, it just covers everything, you know. Because basically, my show mostly came out from 2008 to 2013. And then since then, I've only put out a couple episodes because I've just been busy and tired and, you know, all sorts of
Life
things.
gets in the way, yeah.
Yeah, it does. And I'm going to have a new episode for Halloween, come hell or high water. And it's going to be an episode of the WH45, which is one of my more popular sub-series. My show, 19 Nocturne Boulevard, is an anthology. So it comes out with different episodes. They're all whatever I felt like writing that week. And then within that, there are several different sub-series, and the Lovecraft 5 is one of them. It's all stories from H.P. Lovecraft, but adapted in a particularly unique way. Because basically, it's 5 guys who are recognizably archetypical characters from Lovecraft who get together and tell each other stories, and they sort of rip them apart and do a lot of kibitzing and bringing in other information, which brings life into stories that are either too short or too awful to really stand on their own. But
no, that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
I've already done 6 of them, beginning with The Picture in the House, which is one of my favorites, but it's very, very short and has a stupid ending, so I was able to fix that. And by the time people listened to it, they were like, when are you going to use these characters again? These guys are great. And I was like, okay. And I just kept writing. And this one coming out for Halloween is The Horror at Red Hook, which is one of Lovecraft's weaker stories, for various reasons. And so that's, but I think I did a really good job of beefing it and pointing out the problems with it at the same time as you know, pulling out some of the interesting sides of it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping after that to get an episode of the show, of one episode or another out monthly. It won't always be Lovecraft 5, though I do have 2 more of them recorded already.
All right, so you've got quite the vault. People have been waiting for your return for over a decade, it seems, and you're finally you're making your rounds. You're coming back.
I'm working on it. It's just, you know, unfortunately, before I had a very regular 40-hour-a-week job, you know, I slept well, and somehow I was able to put out an episode every 2 weeks.
Wow, that's honestly really impressive.
Yeah, considering apart from the acting, I did everything. I mean, I didn't compose music. I used canned music. I mean, used Creative Commons music that I found in various places or that I licensed. And
right, as you do.
But other than that, I did all the sound work. I did all the, you know. I mean, when I get to a separate series like Fatal Girl, those were coming out like once a month because they were an hour long. And
Yeah.
I do want to get back to doing those again. I've got scripts for a second season that I'm still reworking.
I'm really loving Fatal Girl so far because we've been reading through the scripts in your Discord, and I'm having a lot of fun with them. Like, it's really charming. It's really anime inspired. It's really like you can tell exactly what the visuals would be if they existed. Mm-hmm. It's just like a 90s anime meets Gravity Falls meets like Son of Zorn, and it's just so it's fantastic. Like, from what I've read so far, I haven't quite delved into the rest of the series yet. The ones that you made back in the late aughts or something.
2013. Actually, that was like the last thing that came out. Yeah, I was finishing off that season.
So you've been around the block in the audio drama game, since like the fucking George Bush administration, which is wild to me, because I was a child during that same time, and you were already like at this point. Like, what was that like? Like, producing a podcast back before anyone knew what a podcast was.
Well, it wasn't quite that far back. I mean, podcasts were very common even in 2008. But, I mean, audio dramas, and there were still a lot of audio dramas. There were, dozens and dozens of groups that would put out one or two things and then vanish. I mean, by comparison, when I was running ADI, Audio Drama Infinitum, I was, I had for a while a Twitter feed that before Twitter turned into a giant column of poop.
Right. As we all know.
Before that happened, I had 7,000 followers for just announcing shows as they came out.
Wow.
I mean, I had...
You had a dedicated fan base then.
Yeah, I mean, and they were there for that. That was the only thing I did. So there was no other reason to follow me. And the reactions I got, because what I did is I would, each day I'd see what came out that day on my podcatcher, and I'd program them in so that every hour was just basically tweeting out a show. Whether that was a new show or an old show. Yeah. And keeping old shows kind of in people's heads because they kind of vanish once they're not coming out again. Mm-hmm. And with the idea that you'd be surprised how many responses I got from people who were like, oh my gosh, we just made this show and we didn't know there were so many out there. I'm like, you didn't do a Google search before you put all that work in? Because there's a lot of groups who are like, we're reinventing old time radio. You're like, again, good,
You know what? I'm guilty of this as well. Like, when I first made the Wizard Scroll, I knew of very few podcasts, especially like in the kind of genre of storytelling that I was doing.
Yeah. Well, now for me, I came into this directly from, I was in an old time radio recreation group. Where we would read scripts every week.
You guys thought you were reinventing it.
Well, actually, no, this was just a fan group. We weren't even making shows particularly. I mean, every once in a while, we'd actually rehearse and put together a show and record it. But it didn't happen very often. And they were more, they put it up on the internet, but they were really more distributing through CDs because that's how old it was. But the idea was that but I had experience with the acting and the scripts and things. And what was annoying though to me was that old time radio never has a lot of good female parts. And people are like, oh, well, there's this good part and this good part. I'm like, yeah, okay, so
those are the only two.
Yeah, exactly. There's like, like 3% of all scripts have a decent female part in them. And so I started writing scripts as an alternative, and I'm trying to write them in the old time radio style. And then I realized, okay, I can just write whatever I want. I'm going to do different stuff. But like some of my earliest ones that I put together are clearly written intentionally to be in the old time radio style. And yet some of my later ones are too. So it just depends on what I felt like. But when I decided, actually a friend of mine, one of my co-group people, a friend who I had brought into the radio group, he saw an ad on Craigslist for somebody who was casting for a podcast comedy, like comedy horror soap opera or something. And he had gotten a role in it, and he's like, they're still looking for a female lead. And I'm like, oh, hey, I'll go audition. And I got it. And we made like 9 episodes of that, and then it vanished, which was unfortunate. It was pretty funny. It had potential.
Mm-hmm.
But, one day when we were recording, one of the other actors says, we should do more of this. We should make a show. And I'm like, I've got scripts. Oh my God, I could make a show. And I had,
but what if a light bulb goes off?
It's so funny. Well, and there was an old time radio contest I had entered where they said, you can write a script. You have to basically create a show. You can't use the opening of an existing show. You have to make up your own opening. And that's when I had made up 19 Nocturne Boulevard, just for that. And I was like, oh, hey, I can use this,
The rest is history.
And the rest is history. And and it works, and it's so much fun. And episodes I have like 100 episodes between the shorts and full length episodes and things. I have several sub-series, including The Dead-Eye Kid, which is a Western with a little bit of weirdness in it, sort of a supernatural Western. I have the Lovecraft 5, of course. I have B&B Investigations, which is like a noir light mystery series, very much like The Thin Man in tone. It's like basically like the lighthearted kind of side of detective noir, except that it's set in the 40s, but it's also the world of fairy tales. And B&B of the B&B Investigations are Donna Bella and Paul Bett, aka Beauty and the Beast.
Oh shit.
And his biggest contact on the street is Rumpelstiltskin, who he meets in bars. And, things like that. So it's very funny, but it also does have really decent, they're fun mysteries.
That sounds really interesting.
And I've got several others that have that either I've done like several episodes about a couple of sisters who do troubleshooting type stuff. They're not really detectives, but they, do bodyguarding or whatever, and they meet Devil. And I've won, and I have 2 episodes, actually 3 stories about Victorian monster hunters, except the adventuress character, instead of being some noblewoman, is a complete street urchin. She got recruited because she just isn't afraid of anything,
Nice.
And so we get to deal with some low-class characters in that. Just different things like that. Also, in addition to completely separate, Fatal Girl is completely separate from the series. It's its own series, as is something I call Bingo the Birthday Clown, which has 30 under 10-minute episodes and is batshit crazy.
You have quite the variety.
Yes.
It's like a box of chocolates. You open up, you drive into 19 Nocturne Boulevard, and you open the door, and you have no idea what's going to be greeting you when you open that door.
Pretty much. And people really got used to finding, if they don't like one episode, come back next time, you'll probably like that one.
Like there was one about like an Iraq war veteran or something,
yes.
or like they were during the war, and
Night
his ghost
Patrol.
came and sabotaged the mission. And then there was that other one that took place in like Cold War era 1950s, but there were robots and Jetsons-esque flying bread.
Yes. Yeah, see, that's
the anime-inspired Fatal Girl and everything else. Like there was a couple of them that were like medieval set in medieval. There was that one we read today with
fantasy, the Amazon,
the wizard and the Amazon who fall in love.
Yeah,
like it's just so like you have so like many different ideas, and the fact you're able to like make time for all of them is just like really nice. You get in, you tell your story, you get out. If people like it that much, you can always like pick it up later and continue it, like you did with
Fatal Girl.
Fatal Girl and the other ones.
Yeah. I really, I mean, a lot of them started out just because I was picking a genre and trying to write something that really fit the genre.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the Deadeye Kid, I had this idea for this guy. He's a gunslinger who talks to ghosts. And then it kind of turned into this, he's trying to make up for his checkered past by helping solve problems around the West, one of those classic, traveling hero types. And he's got a sidekick who's a British travel writer named Fanshawe. And Fanshawe, he's always making fun of Fanshawe for being kind of prissy British dude, And, and I've got a whole bunch of different stories with these characters because I really like them. It turned into, they got basically spun off into their own series that came out in multiple episodes. One of the more recent ones being, or the last one that came out, was called the Taste of the Beholder. And this whole thing was them trying to mitigate between two groups that it was almost impossible to communicate with. One of which were a bunch of Swedish loggers, who had been, out there, cutting down trees. And the other is a group of Yorkshire miners who speak such thick Yorkshire, tyke accents that it's almost impossible to understand anything. And I had so much fun looking up slang from the north of England and writing these characters. And at least one of my actors actually was from the area, and he thought it was really good. And he was just
that usually helps.
Yeah, and he was.
That's like when you go to a Chinese restaurant and you know there's like a Chinese family eating there. That's how you know it's good food.
Yeah. Well, he was amused because nobody writes that kind of thing anymore, and it's kind of fun to do. Just writing this absolute, it sounds like gibberish if you're from anywhere else in a way, because between the accent and the words being used. And then the Swedish ones, I just kept all the sentences really simple and then put them through Google Translate, and we just tried. My actors just tried their best. Yes.
I did something similar for April Fool's Day like a year or 2 years ago. What I did was I took the script for my first episode and I ran it through Google Translate. And I tried to speak Spanish to read the script.
Oh, gosh.
And the thing about me is I took Spanish in high school. I did not retain much. The only things I really retained was how to actually pronounce the words and like what a few like a select few things actually meant. So I feel like there were some points where I was cruising. Most of it, I had no idea what I was saying. But then I would get to a line like something like La Teta de Orco. And I'm like, oh, I think I know where I'm at. Entrecerrabas los ojos lo suficiente. Podías ver una teta de orco gigante. 36 infinity. Allí arriba. Iluminando la tierra con su suave resplandor blanco.
Aha. Well, I have a tendency to I do a lot of karaoke, and I like to learn songs in foreign languages that I don't speak. So I just learn them by ear. And that's it's so much fun to do at karaoke. Like one night I was singing a Bollywood song, and a guy came up to me afterwards and he goes, "What language is that?" And I said, "It's Hindi, I'm pretty sure." And he says, "Oh, no wonder some of the words sounded familiar. I'm Turkish." And I was like, I don't have a Turkish song, but I have a Farsi song. And he's like, "Oh, sing the Farsi song." And I'm like, "Oh, you're going to laugh at me." And he's like, No, I'm going to love it. Sing it." And after I sang this song, he comes up and he's like, "I know that song. I have that song on my phone. That's so cool." I mean, even if it's terrible, people are just happy to hear some songs. At least you attempt it, Yeah. I'm sure I sound like the worst stereotypical foreign businessman trying to sing, Louie Louie or something and just butchering it. but I try really hard to do it right. And I can sing in like 19 different languages I don't speak.
Well, you're a professional through and through. I'll give you that.
Well, I just like words and I pick up accents really quickly too. That's why I try something like, writing for Yorkshire characters is once I listen to it long enough, I start to get a feel for the rhythm and what kind of words need to be in what kind of places. I mean, I'm not going to try and, sell it to native speakers and say this is perfect.
Right.
I'm just going to go, hey, I hope you're at least amused by what I did.
Yeah, I hope you like some of the local lingo I picked up.
Yep. And, that's... I don't know how Swedish people would think of my loggers. My brother at least spoke some Swedish and was able to do some of his lines. He picked up a little bit, and but everybody did reasonably well. At least it kind of works. It's tricky when you're writing something like that where characters are literally not making anything that the audience is going to get. It's not saying anything.
Yeah.
And yet the characters kind of have to take it and figure it out and then explain it to the audience. The other characters do at the same time. You could tell kind of from tone of voice, oh, they're getting mad. Okay. What are they mad about? Oh, it sounds like they're mad about blah, 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 blah,
Right.
Yeah. So try and keep up with everything. I also have a couple of other things that I've been working on writing that I'm hoping to bring out sometime soon. I have a adventure serial, which is very much in the style of a 1950s audio. It was specifically started out as an homage to a series, an old-time radio series called I Love a Mystery, which was written by Carlton E. Morse. And he was one of the biggest names in old-time radio back in the day. I mean, in radio back in the day. Because he wrote One Man's Family, which was like the biggest family drama on the air for like 20 years. And then he wrote I Love a Mystery on the weekends. And
so he had his day job and his night job.
Yeah.
And they were both the same thing. That's awesome.
Basically.
That's the dream right there.
Oh, I know. I wish I could make a living doing it. I changed all the characters, though they're recognizable in a way. And kind of took them off in another direction, and so they're my characters now because I decided I'm going to make them different than his. But it started out that way, and he had Jack, Doc, and Reggie. I've got Mac, Duke, and Bertie, and Rose. Because of course I'm not leaving out the ladies. And there's also there's a bunch of other characters that are repeating and stuff, and instead of traveling on by train through the heartland, they're off on a cruise ship to Hawaii. And
you changed just enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I'm doing a few other things that would never have appeared in the original series. Things like acknowledging that there's misogyny and racism in the 50s. I'm not making it the plot, but I am including it. It's there. It's I don't know if it's I'm not trying to make a point with it. I'm just trying to be inclusive of reality.
You're trying to make it as like authentic to the time period you're going for as possible.
Yes, without making it like a big crusade.
Exactly. Yeah, like you're just mentioning this is something that happened during this time. Anyway, onto the story.
Yeah. I mean, it's just happening, and if the audience puts it together, they do, and if they don't, they don't. There are things going on that just would have been totally ignored at the time, because it didn't appear, because they had sponsors that told them what the standards were, and you couldn't do a lot of things, Yep. No, I've been listening specifically to Jack Benny recently, because I'm going to be in a recreation of a Jack Benny episode on Project Audion. I've been in a few of their episodes doing different characters. It's probably a ways off. I'm also going to get to do, I hope, our Connie Brooks in Armis Brooks. That's one of the best female roles in audio drama, old-time radio comedy. But I love her so much. She's one of the best characters. But I'm listening to Jack Benny, and you'd be surprised how much kind of violent humor is in it. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna punch you in the face. I mean, just not quite like that, but it's so funny because anything remotely raunchy has to be really dialed down and be super,
has to be really suggestive.
Oh yeah, and barely
like 2.5 Men style. Like,
oh no, way farther back than that.
Less than that.
Yeah. But violent humor is like right up front, and you're like, wow, okay. And one of the ones, I love the show Burns and Allen. I love George Burns and Gracie Allen. I think they're hilarious. But when I started listening to them again recently, I was like, oh my God, because there's a running gag about their postman who's beaten up by his wife.
Oh my God.
And domestic violence it's only funny because she's the one doing it.
Exactly.
No, it's actually still not funny. It's like,
I don't know, we're laughing about it.
I know, it's like, it's that uncomfortable laughter.
Mm-hmm.
So there's...
You ever see the South Park movie?
No, I'm not a fan of South Park, though I thought the video game was brilliant.
Okay. The South Park movie, it came out in 1999. The plot is actually very similar to what you're talking about. Like, you can't say any bad words, but violence is fine in our book. Because the plot of the movie is that the four boys go see Terrence and Phillip in the movie, and then they learn a bunch of curse words from the film, and they start cursing at each other. And the parents are all mad, like, our kids are cursing. This is bad. We're gonna wage war. We're gonna wage bloody war on Canada to get them to stop watching Terrence and Phillip. And they're like, the whole point of the film is that, like, your kids are learning these curse words, and like, you as the parent should have like the responsibility to, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, my brother and I, we were kids when we watched that movie, and we learned curse words from it. And my mom was so pissed when we said all of them to her.
Well, I mean, South Park
missing the entire point.
Well, and missing the entire point is that South Park is not a show for children, and it never ever was. And people,
and it never will be. Yeah.
No, and it's, I mean, and it's trying to sarcastically point out how stupid we are that we do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, as a culture, I mean, America, we're still so about sex. We're so weird about it. It's like, ooh, sex is everywhere. Sex is blah 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 blah. No, don't talk about it. We can't. And then at the same time, everything is violent. We have no problem with massively violent stuff on TV, but, oh, God, don't show anything, And it's so weird to other countries because you go over to England and they have a, after the watershed is 9:00 or whatever, after that, there can be nudity on TV. They don't even care, and... Well, it's, after that after that, there's going to be stuff showing up, whether it's nudity or bad language or whatever, and that's when you put the kids to bed or whatever.
Yep. All right, son, you can't look at this.
Exactly.
Wherever you go, whatever they get into, from chill time to everyday adventures. Protect your dog from parasites with Credelio Quattro. For full safety information, side effects, and warnings, visit CredelioQuattroLabel.com. Consult your vet or call 1-888-545-5973. Ask your vet for Credelio Quattro and visit QuattroDog.com.
As I said, I like to pick genres and try to, absorb the genre, look at where the tropes are and the stereotypes of the genre, and then write something.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done things like I did a giallo, which are like 1970s, 1980s slasher movies from Italy. with like weird titles like, Cat of Nine Tails or Bird with the Crystal Plumage or Don't Torture a Duckling. Mine was called When Yellow Casts a Crimson Shadow. Well, because
you're fitting right in with that.
Well, see, giallos they're not actually called giallos in Italy. It's sort of a slang term for them because they come from thriller novels like Pulp Fiction that were published in yellow bindings. And giallo just means yellow. And so here I am when yellow casts a crimson shadow. And all
it's artistic as fuck, though.
Yeah, and I used a lot of like the symbolism, and they're very misogynist. It's always hot chicks getting horribly brutalized and mutilated and murdered, and
we always love a good scene like that.
Yeah, and it's a very visual genre, which made it very tricky to try and translate into audio, and I think I did a really good job. I did a Jane Austen that I went into with an idea of, it's Jane Austen, but with magic. And I did, just all these different things where I'd pick a genre and I'd write something for it. One of my favorites, I read a bunch of stuff about the Grand Guignol theater movement in Paris and then in England. Mm-hmm. There's a pair of books written by Richard Hand and Mr. Wilson. I can't remember what his I should have looked him up. But Mr. Hand and Mr. Wilson, and they wrote these two books, or they both wrote the Paris one. Anyway, there's two books, and they're professors at a college in Wales, or at least they were at the time. And I read the books, used it as my basis for my stories for the research.
Right.
And as I was writing my story, I decided I'd name a couple of characters Hand and Wilson. Just, why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was casting it, I was like, oh, this would be funny. They're college professors. Their email will be on this college website. So I wrote to them and I said, would you like to do a part in my show? And it turned out that Mr. Hand, or Professor Hand, or I don't know what the right title is. I'm sorry. It's been a while. I should have looked this up if I was going to talk about it, but this has been a kind of a wandering interview. And but he wrote back and said that not only was he a fan of my show, but he had used me as an example in the book he had written on on audio drama being made for the internet today.
Oh, that's awesome.
As an example of a good opening for a show, a really good opening. And a couple other places mentioned it as well, which I then of course had to read that book. Uh-huh. But, and he was delighted and they were in it and they did that. And I actually have one of the episodes that I'm going to be bringing out sometime soon. I cast him in again and got the voices a couple of years ago when I thought I was going to have time to make it. And I am definitely going to finish it off now. I am intending, very intentional to do this. And so it's just really cool when you discover that somebody else has actually heard of you.
So like this character that you made to reference the real life person, you message the real life person to voice the character, and then you find out that he's a fan of yours and has been listening to your show. Yeah. And also he wants to be in it. That's awesome. That's like gotta be like
it was so fun.
That's gotta be a surreal experience.
Yeah. Well, it's neat because I mean I've reached out to other people in other shows. Mm-hmm. That was how I got started, putting together sort of a list of, people to work with, because I hate doing auditions.
Yeah.
I just don't like the process at all. And I know people are like, oh, it's not fair. I'm like, come hang out in my cold read group. You'll end up with a role at some point. You really will.
That's my plan.
That's one reason I do it, is so that when I do start casting again, I know a lot of people with a lot of voices. I'd rather do that and just cast from my group than go out and hold auditions and have to tell everybody they didn't get it and, all this crap. I hate that.
Right.
So the only time it's every once in a while there'll be something that I can't hear anybody that I know already in the role.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a couple roles like that. And I mean, I know it's one of those areas that I've been seeing a lot recently in auditions. People are writing all these roles and they're being super inclusive, and that's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's awesome. I don't denigrate that at all, but they're limiting themselves by doing it in one way. It's like, I'm looking for a 40-something Latina character who is gay or trans and who is, you know, and you're like, okay, the more specific you make the character, unless it's actually a story about that.
Yes.
You know, about how this person's life is. You know, the more specific you make it, the harder it is going to be to cast.
Yeah.
Especially,
I usually just go like male presenting or female presenting if I do anything like that. And then like whatever age you are, you can just come with a voice. If I like it, you're in. If not, then I have your info. Like if I have something in mind for you, stand by.
Well, I mean, I get cast a lot. Just people, you know, are like, hey, I
people
need
know
your
you.
Voice for this. You know, yeah, okay.
This professor used
and...
you in his thesis. At some point, like you're world renowned at this point.
Well, and I'm very big in Germany too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but there is actually a huge industry in Germany for Hörspiels or audio dramas.
Isn't that like they were like dubbing over your stuff in German?
Well, not dubbing over. They were actually remaking it. They were
Yes.
translating and then remaking completely.
That is fucking crazy. How accurate is it, like sound-wise?
I have no idea. I mean, I've listened to bits and pieces, but I don't speak German, so...
Yeah, but like the sound design in the background, everything that isn't the characters, like how close do they get to like the music you picked and like the sound effects?
Oh, there's a piece I can give you to put in.
Oh, yeah?
I can give you a chunk comparing a little bit of one of my...
the compare and contrast. I want to hear that.
Name.
Sorensen Amber. Sorensен. O-N is Norwegian.
What?
O-N is Norwegian. E-N is Danish.
So, you're Danish.
Psh, do I sound Danish? Ugh. Like my great was.
Then why?
I understand. My name gets misspelled all the time. Let's move on. Present are detectives Howard Upton and Phyllis German, Jermyn, and Amber Sorensen with an E-N.
Age.
I have the right to remain silent. I have the right to an attorney. If I cannot afford one will be assigned, allotted. I should know this or watch enough Law and Order.
Name.
Sorensen. Amber. Sorensen. O-N ist Norwegisch.
Was?
O-N ist Norwegisch, E-N ist Dänisch.
Also bist du Dänin?
Kling ich Dänisch? So wie meine Uroma oder wie?
Warum also?
Ich verstehe. Mein Name wird auch immer falsch ausgesprochen. Also gut, machen wir weiter. Anwesend sind die Detectives Howard Upton und Phyllis German. Jermyn. Und Amber Sorensen mit einem E-N.
Alter.
Ich habe das Recht zu schweigen, ich habe das Recht auf einen Anwalt. Wenn ich mir keinen leisten kann, wird mir einer zugewiesen. Oh, Kacke, ich sollte das wissen. Ich schaue genug Law and Order.
Yeah, it's actually the piece I use a lot because it's easy to tell what's being said, and there's reasons for that. You'll hear it. It's from a episode of mine, which is a very loose interpretation of H.P. Lovecraft's story Cool Air, that I call Chillin'. And well, this particular script happened because I went to see, this is how long ago this was. You remember the movie Juno?
Vaguely.
My niece and I went to see it, and she was 16. We went to see it, and I was like, I want to write a sassy character like that. So I sat down, and my brain is like clicking through ideas for where I could use this character. And I'm like, oh, sure, Lovecraft. Lovecraft would just love a sassy teenage girl. No. But it worked. It really worked. And I wrote the whole script and I sent it to her like 2 weeks later when I'd finished it. And I said, would you read this over and tell me if this character reads true to you, as your age? And she just got back to me and said, can I please play her?
Aw, that's awesome.
And she did a great job. But it just makes it you know, that's the way you know you did a good job writing the
absolutely.
character. And the funny part was when she recorded that, my father and my stepmother, Lori, were there. They wanted to come and be supportive of her, you know, and as their it was sort of god niece thing. It was complicated, and so my stepmother ended up in the closing credits. I mean, in the bloopers at the end, going, what was it? It was something like Bumpin' Uglies. I've never heard that one. In my day, it was Knockin' Boots or something like that.
Send me that clip too. I'll toss it all in.
Oh, I might be able to find that one. I know the other one I keep around. But yeah, so I have to admit, I also reached out to one of the things I did to publicize my show that I really felt helped a lot to get it out there, because there's no really good place to publicize audio dramas, and that's very frustrating.
Yeah. I've been sticking to Reddit, which gets a bite every couple of blue moons, and then mostly Discord is like building genuine connections with other creators. Be like, hey, here's the show I'm working on. Hey, hello, gang. I'm here with the cold read. Here's a script from my show. You guys want to read it? And then from there, now you're hooked. Now you're a Wizard Scroll fanatic, I bet.
Well, the hard part is reaching out to people outside our little tidal pool of the internet.
Exactly.
And so what I was doing was, since a lot of my episodes were horror based, I reached out to horror movie podcasts. And I'd start, you know, writing to them, commenting on stuff, get myself invited to help sit down and like dissect some movie that I like.
Yeah.
You know, and several of them, because they were the kind of guys who didn't get to talk to ladies very much, loved having me on. And it was very much a joke among us. So I'd get on there and we'd talk about this movie or that movie or whatever, and that gave me a chance to promote my show. But I would also get some of them who wanted to act back into my show, because then they would promote it.
Now, yeah.
Exactly, and it worked very well. And a lot of them they were all really super nice people, honestly. But, I mean, if I had a choice like 6 years ago when I was first really contemplating trying to get back into it, and it's been that long, I'm so slow. You know, people were like, well, who would you get now? I was like, oh, I'd see if I could scrape together enough money to hire Markiplier. You know, or one of the other big name gamers. Yeah. There's actually several gamers who I still would love to work with, who might actually be, because it's not such as big a deal as it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of them are, you know, kind of more just, you know, keeping up now. And I bet that if I went to them, and was able to, you know, pay them something reasonable, I'd be able to use them. And I would. Yeah. Because there's plenty of them I still like and would love to work with.
Like who?
I like watching playthroughs, because I once it went past button joystick, I was like, fuck it, you know.
Leave it to the professionals.
And I'm that old. I'm really that old. But well, I would love to get. I mean, shoot, if I could afford Markiplier, I'd totally get him.
Who wouldn't? Yeah.
Yeah, but I like Jacksepticeye. I like Hybrid Panda. I like CGU. I like shoot, I can see his face and I can't think of his name. He's from Scary Game Squad. He actually was Jesse from Scary Game Squad. He was in. Did you see the Cyberpunk game?
Yes, I've heard it. I've heard various things about it that were not good. I heard Keanu Reeves was in it as well.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Yeah, he was in it. Actually, I enjoyed watching it, but Jesse did get to voice a part in there of a man whose who one of his implants is going awfully bad.
Oh no.
Yes, and it's a penile implant
Oh my.
that will explode if you don't get him to a doctor.
That's a funny side quest. Except that side quest.
It is. It is a funny side quest. He's just screaming the whole time because he's getting shocked constantly by it.
That's fucked up. I love that.
If you want to know where it's at, it is literally right outside where you start. It's right here across the street. And for many of you, I'm sure, was the very first side job you found. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was your first experience in this game, and it was this. Yep, if you're wondering, yeah, I went to a recording studio with a professional setup and best audio gear imaginable. Yep, I had a director and an audio engineer and a script guy. And they were like, with the owls, like, more pain. And with the fucks, like, fuck. Yeah, so get ready for this. Hey, you! I gotta get to a Ripper, man. I'll pay you. Look at him waddle up.
I didn't know there was so much like little wrinkles to it like that. That's great.
Oh yeah.
All I've heard is like the big main idea is that like people worked on this for like a decade and a half and it came out as a buggy mess. But like updates have kind of fixed most of the issues. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that correct assertion?
I think that's kind of what I heard. I mean, I mostly have been into horror games more than the sci-fi stuff, but I really did enjoy that one. I liked just the scenery and all the, stuff. The plot I could give or take, most of the time, but it was still fun. And it also had Co-Carnage in there as a preacher. He's another one I like. As a street preacher. That was funny. Watching him go visit himself when he was playing it.
Not only to you.
Oh my god. Chat.
Do you truly believe that those who have sold you your mechanical eyes have resisted the temptation to peek through them? Cameras are all around us, even within us. Your joys, your worries, your life. For them, it is all mere spectacle.
So just like gouge out my implants and go blind?
Let's just say you're right. So what? Should I just gouge out my optics? Thanks, but no thanks.
You are beyond salvation, but not the children of the future. Life untainted by surgery of the sacrilege.
Gary the prophet?
Yet save them. May the mothers shield their bodies. May the fathers instill their hatred for Crow.
I'd love to get involved with, just reach out to them, on a commercial level and say, hey, could you do 20 lines for me as this character for $100 or whatever,
Honestly, if I was Markiplier and that came across my desk, I would probably go for it.
Yeah.
Because like 20 lines, that's nothing. For a guy with a voice like his, like he's got the voice of a golden god, And
I know.
He'd be a good like narrator for something.
Yeah, I've got his tastefully nude calendar.
Oh.
It's for my collection.
What's your favorite month from that?
I don't remember. All of them. No, he's just adorable. He is adorable. Actually, I did start at one point an audio drama that would have been in the style of Dead by Daylight, of a similar kind of setting for a bunch of characters. Maybe I'll go on with that at some point too. We're trapped here. We don't know why. Monsters are trying to kill us. This sucks,
You must fix 3 generators.
It's not quite, I didn't quite copy it that much. But, it was recognizable in the general sense of it, of having that kind of, setting. But very different, my own different monsters and my own different things they had to do and avoid. But you do, every time you get killed, you just go back to to these empty streets until the next one rolls up.
Mm-hmm.
I have so much writing just sitting around in my files. Like, here's that other series I was starting on. Oh, here's that other series I was.
I feel like what I'm gonna do with Wizard Scroll. My plan currently is for season 4. I want to wrap up the current overarching story I have so far, and then I'm gonna after that go into anthologized stories instead. So, like, I've already have this world, and I have a bunch of recurring characters and all that. So here's a funny thing that happens in this world, rather than here's the whole story. Here's the 3-season-long arc that you gotta follow from start to beginning. Now, like, if you don't like this one about the Waffle Brothel House, you could tune in next week and listen to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that works. Yeah. Well, different things I've done have been, connected just by characters and
exactly.
stuff.
So, like As It Has the Wise will probably be a recurring character, and fucking Big Ange, of course. Who could forget her?
Pony up money for taxes.
Hey, that's me, Big Ange.
But,
oh my God!
that-
We
that-
just picked up a little hitchhiker here. Why don't you say hi to the camera there? I mean, not the microphone.
Hey there, everybody. It's me, Big Ange. Thanks for picking me up. Oh, wow. Helen, you're one handsome young man.
I'm a boy. I'm underage. You don't want me?
All right, I'm gonna head out. You can just drop me off right over here.
No. I like the attention. Just stay.
All right, Big Ange is gone.
Well, like in the one I was mentioning about the two sisters, they're in their 40s, and one of them's an agoraphobe who runs the computer and talks to her sister, who's the brawn on the outside, and they meet. Well, they get hired. This is an episode I called Force Majeure. They get hired by this guy who's a famous comedian on TV, who says that he's had death threats and he wants them to bodyguard him because he's been told he's going to be killed Saturday. And she's like, "What? He gave you an itinerary?" He's like, "It's the threat. You got to watch out." And it turns out the guy shows up, and he's sort of a Steve Buscemi kind of character, and he's like, "Look, he's gonna die. I don't even have to be there because he signed a contract for his soul, and it's when it comes due." and she's like, "Okay, great. So I can't do anything about a demon." But then the demon shows up again. His name's Beelzebub. He's like, "Just call me Bud. I hate being mistaken for that other guy. It's not like I'm Frank Stallone." Joe Estevez? No. And so he says, "Look, I can give your guy a chance. I can make it so I just ruin his life, and I'll just take it as a loss. Well, like a tax write-off in the grand scheme of things. But you have to do something for me." And she's like, "Okay." And he says, "Well, I met this demon chick the other night, and I want you to go ask her for a date for me."
A tale as old as time.
Oh, yes. And she's like, "This is so like high school." So she goes, and the chick is totally not into it. She's like, "He's a sleaze. I'm too busy, But then she shows up again and says, "Okay, I'll go to karaoke or bowling or whatever your mini golf your person wants to go to, if you'll kill my current victim."
I think I know who the victim might be.
No, her current victim is this singer for a punk band.
I thought it was the same guy. That would have been a real catch-22.
No. Well, see, Bud makes it very clear that they all have their departments, and his department is fat male comedians. And this delights the information sister. She's like, "Oh, like John Kennedy and Chris Farley and Fatty Arbuckle." And because she just loves that kind of stuff. It's very twisted and entertaining, and he's actually a really fun character. And I do have more stories planned with them as well. Just getting more and more into this weird demonic bureaucracy that he's part of. He's like, what you guys don't understand is that, we may be the janitors, but we still work for the same boss.
Right.
God wants people to have free will, and if they don't take us up when we tempt them, then fine. But if they make the deal, they have to come across with them,
That's fair, honestly.
I'm not doing anything wrong, really.
If you were to make a deal with the devil, what would it be?
Me? Nah.
Yeah, would you do it if the devil came to you and was like, 19 Nocturne Boulevard will be world-renowned and you will be beloved for the rest of your days, but after that, your soul is mine to keep, or something like that?
Nah, I just don't know. I mean, I take I have another completely different story about deals with the devil. Crumping the Devil, which is about an old woman who she's in a hospital and first death shows up and then the devil shows up. And she, at least in part, believes that they're her daughter sending, actors to make it so that her mother looks insane so she can have her put away.
Mm.
So she doesn't really take them that seriously, even when she gets some proof that they can do stuff.
The real deal.
Yeah. Well, this is also called the Cussin' Granny episode because she is the most foul-mouthed old lady, and she's based on a lady I knew in England. I mean, I knew her via the internet. We never actually met, but I was recording some books for her, some audiobooks, and she was a fierce little old lady. I mean, she wrote to me one day and said, I'm not going to be online for a few days. I just got back from chemo, so I'm a little wiped out. And I wrote, can I just say, you have my sympathy and leave it at that? And she writes back in all caps, if you say you feel sorry for me, I shall fly to Seattle and kick your fucking ass.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I wrote back in all caps, saying you have my sympathy doesn't mean I feel sorry for you. It means I give a shit. And that's why we got along. So I based this character on her, and she loved the script, though I don't think she ever listened to the episode because she thought our accents would probably not do it justice, you know. But and then I stopped hearing from her, and I kind of assumed she passed away.
Yeah,
she was kick-ass old lady, and so Maggie in my story has, I don't know how blue I can get here. I'll just
you can swear whatever swear you like.
Well, the trick to being cleverly foul-mouthed is to change it up constantly.
Right.
And to say things that are, like, really rude without necessarily being... Like, when Death is bothering her and she's trying to make a phone call, she's on the phone and Death's like, you're not supposed to have a mobile in hospital, because he's a bit of a prig. And she's like, what? Oh, no, it's just like a insurance salesman. They're like a bleeding pet poodle. No balls, but they won't stop humping once they get a hold of your leg. That kind of thing. I honestly, I love pretty much every episode I put out.
That's true. You got to be your own biggest fan, or else it's not worth doing.
Yeah, and it's funny because I go back and listen to some of my earliest episodes, and I think I still did a great job. I mean, because when I started out like you, I had to teach myself. I mean, I had scripts, but I had never done audio.
Yep.
And I was able to get some tips from the old time radio leader, the leader of the group I was in there, Joy. And I got some tips from the guy who was doing the soap opera comedy thing that I was in, and Ryan. And between them, I figured it out. I just made shit up.
You gain some tricks as you go, and you pick up a few tools, and then once you have enough knowledge, you can just kind of run with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, I use Audacity, and I use like 10 functions of it, and that's it. And I can do things like what you heard in Fatal Girl, because more important than the bells and whistles is
the fundamentals.
Well, is actually having a good ear and knowing how it's going to sound in your head so that you can make it sound right. Because you can make something I've heard shows that are well put together, but where the pacing is bad because nobody has an ear for that, or where everybody's line ends, and then the next person starts. There's a gap when there shouldn't be.
So, like, yeah, my biggest pet peeve is, like, when one line ends and it's like someone getting cut off by the next guy starting to talk, and there's a gap. Like, that doesn't make any sense in a conversation. Like, if I'm talking and then you butt in, like, you would it would start at the same time.
Exactly. And or conversely, there are times when you need space in there. And that's one thing that I find very frustrating in audiobooks, because a lot of times they get auto edited to leave out gaps, to cut down gaps to a certain size. So even when there should be a pause because a character is like, and this was very important, I needed to do, we just cut it together, and you're like, no, you want that there.
You need the dramatic pause.
What if my legendary acting ability didn't rise from the grave with me? I'd better test it with a dramatic...
Is he all right?
Pause! We're going to Hollywood!
And it's or when there's a pause between sections in the story, and suddenly you're in a different place and there's been no indication.
Yeah, right.
But,
Cut to, it's a different part of the world now.
Yeah, and I mean, and so, I mean, that's just learning how to listen and hear how things are going is really, that's the artistic part of the science of doing the sound.
Right.
And that's the part I've always been good at. I mean, when I make sounds like some of the ones, the complex, bells and things that you heard in that Fatal Girl opener, I'll just like throw 40 different sounds that sounded good into one DAW and start moving them around and until they get where I want them to be.
I have so many different like sound effects that I use like repeatedly. So like there's a certain whoosh transition sound effect that I use everywhere. There's just like a certain like gun reloading sound effect that I use all the time. Like you just pick up and like you just I literally just open up other tabs of my DAW, copy it from one project and paste it into a new one. And I've been doing that for fucking 4 years. It's a mess.
I've got a cheat document or one, file. I open it up and it's just got lines. It's like, this is all doors. This is all footsteps. This is all this.
That's honestly so much smarter than what I've been doing.
I'll just scroll down. Okay, I know I've got coins in here. There's coins. There's, I mean, 60% of all the sound effects I'm going to use are in there.
That's brilliant.
Because I've got like a particular track that unless there's a reason not to, I use for outdoor city. I use for outdoor country, I don't need to have a different track every time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's just setting the background, and little things like that just, speed everything up really well. And of course I'm out of it. I haven't used it in a long time. I had to even think about, okay, what was it I was doing?
I mean, at this point, if you're kind of basically starting fresh, I would recommend making the upgrade to Reaper.
Nah, I still like Audacity, but I'm keeping the older version before they decided to do the new thing.
Yeah, the new thing fucking destroyed me. You have no idea. I upgraded to Audacity 3.0.0, and it fucking crashed like every time I would open it. I would lose hours of work, and I was like beating my head against the wall. It felt like there was 4 episodes in particular, like at the end of season 2, where I was just like, I just got to get through this, and then I'm fucking throwing Audacity out forever.
Nope, I'm just keeping this version forever. And I have the plugins I want. I have the,
What version are you rocking currently?
Honestly, because I'm recording on it right now, I can't check.
Okay.
But, yeah, no, I do like it. I'm used to it. It's, I mean, I can practically read it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can look at a series of things and go, oh, there's where the scene changes. Oh, there's where the next scene changes. I mean, so I don't see any reason to change it.
That's fair. I felt, I mean, back when I made the switch, I had kind of like, I was a little hesitant to do it, but I knew I had to do it with the state that Audacity was presently in at that time. if I had made if I knew that Audacity was going to be such a dumpster fire once I updated it, I probably never would have.
Yeah.
And if that were the case, I probably never would have started Reaper in the first place. But once I made the switch and once I learned the ins and outs and I got my plugins in there, like I do feel like Reaper is the superior software. But the skill ceiling is way higher.
Well, I mean, honestly, the software, I mean, it may make things simpler to do certain things, but the output of everything is going to come out, however it comes out because of whatever the person puts into it.
Absolutely. You gotta, like a good carpenter never blames his tools, yeah.
Yeah. Are you painting with a camel hair brush or are you painting with a synthetic brush? It'll be some differences, but ultimately it's your skill, not the brush itself, that's going to make the biggest difference. And, it's just like with writing. I mean, people are, one of the questions that I always see, I mean, like the top 3 questions I see, and it has been the same pretty much since when I started, right? The top question you always see in audio drama forums is, when do I start making money?
If you're lucky, in 5 years.
No, and the answer is, really don't
Probably
worry
never.
about that.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's, unfortunately, we don't have a good way to make money at audio dramas yet. You can start you can do your Patreon, which I've had, which has been making enough each year to cover the cost of the website.
That's good.
And to keep up other things like that. Yeah, but not really anything extra. I mean, I have also had enough to, buy a whole bunch of music through Humble Bundle and other places that I've licensed music. So I've got a giant pile of licensed music that I can work with, which is nice. And, sound effects when I found them, so that I've got what I need. But,
you're not going to make a living off of it unless you're in, like, the top 10th% of podcasters. Like, I'm in a network currently where there's a couple shows in there that have, like, we're celebrating 1 million downloads all time. And, like, I'm gonna auction off my scripts to my loyal fans so I can do a live show in New York. And shit like that, and that's fucking awesome that he's able to do that. But like for me right now, like that is a pipe dream for me currently. I would love to get to the point where like I could see any funds, because like Fable and Folly does like the way the ads work is like my show has ads on it, but I don't see any of the money until I earn a total of $150, and then they give it all to me, because like anything less than that, it doesn't make sense. Like, you made 25 cents this month, but the dues for PayPal or whatever is like 5%. At that point, with such small numbers, it doesn't make sense to send it. So they're keeping that. Like, I actually talked with Russ Moore, the one of the co-founders of the network, and he like had like a whole like Excel spreadsheet for me. Like, he's been keeping track of that behind the scenes. And so I should be seeing a payday at some point, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but so many people are like, I put out 3 episodes. When do I start making money?
When's my when does the accolades? When does the fame come? Why am I at 5 downloads still, man? Come on. And like all that. I've been there, and I remember sitting here at this desk and just watching the fucking the monthly analytics and just like trying to what's the word? I'm trying to manifest
not
more
cry.
Downloads. Sitting here like praying.
I'll tell you, the funny thing for me is that somehow my show is still in the Good Pods top 100s of like several different categories, and I haven't put out an episode in 5 years, let alone put out regular episodes. Which I'm very happy about. I assume that means something.
I think I cracked the top 20 once a couple months ago, but then I lost it.
Yeah. See,
then I stopped
what we need, the biggest problem is that audio dramas need a central location like a Netflix.
Yeah.
Not necessarily something that people have to pay for, but someplace where it's active and it's interesting not just a listing, because there's several places where shows are listed, but I mean that's like staring at a
wall of text.
Library catalog. Yeah. I have something in mind that I would love to do if I had money or could build a website, of this complexity.
Mm-hmm.
And someday maybe I'll do it if I'm rich.
Got that,
ha ha ha.
That website that you've got currently is a work of wonders, a product of its time, if you will. Because
hey, I built that on a Vista machine, and that's why it hasn't been upgraded, because I don't have a Vista machine anymore.
That's crazy that it's still out. That's
only...
crazy that it's still like you can still go there and it still works after all this time.
Well, it's very simple. It doesn't do anything except have links.
So that's just like you have to pay to like keep it online.
Essentially, I just pay yearly for the GoDaddy or whatever, and I keep up my web addresses. I have to pay for those. But I mean, the big deal is that I've got a place. It's there. It's always there. It's static right now, and it will be, but. I'll have to figure out a way to do something with it.
Any plans on like a new website or like somehow revitalizing
when I get rich?
20nocturneboulevard.com.
No. No. Well, the next thing, I mean, if I was building one, I wanted to do it with AD Infinitum. That was what I was hoping to do, was build that Twitter feed up to a point where it had its own, it had a Patreon, and I could start parlaying that into building a website for all audio drama, and basically give everyone a little link on it, but make it in a sort of a visual format so that it's interesting to wander around and look at things effectively. I mean, I think of it visually. But the idea was if we could link everybody's show in and automatically pop up like a reader board for here's the latest things that came out.
Here's some artwork. Here's like a 5-second snippet, not 5 seconds, but like a snippet. Yeah. Here's like a blurb. Here's the show notes and everything. Like that'd be cool. I'm seeing it in my head right now. Julie, you're really ambitious in every aspect. Like you've got all these shows, all these stories, and this website all just floating around in your brain, and you're in a very unenviable position right now with all that.
Well, I mean, I picture it as like a big old movie theater.
Yeah.
Like you're in the lobby and there's a reader board and it shows the 20 shows that came out most recently, the 20 episodes. It would populate that automatically and update it every hour or something. So you know what's come out recently, most recently. And then there'd be like a different doorway for each category. There'd be a horror doorway and a sci-fi doorway or whatever, different. You click there, you go to, here's all the shows that fit in this category. And everybody could choose 2 categories for any show or 3 categories for whatever their show is. You can't be in every hallway.
Right.
I mean, and then we'd have, like a membership. And if you have a membership, you get to vote on shows, put 1 to 5 stars on there. And the shows with the most stars would be the first ones that people would see, and they'd automatically update from votes.
Yeah.
So that newcomers, so that new people who are being exposed to audio drama for the first time will find the best shows to get them hooked, but everybody else can find any show they want. So, because there's stuff that has really good stories, but maybe isn't as professionally edited, I mean, every show has something interesting in it, but that way, people that were the ones we're trying to hook in, because the goal is to get new audience. Everybody advertises with each other, and we're all just sort of, kissing at the family reunion.
It's a good,
it's
a good analogy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we need to reach out and widen our gene pool.
Yeah.
And if we did this and made this central location, everybody could chip in, and we could do a blast of advertising for one location that everybody could benefit from.
I've been trying to do some guerrilla marketing this past year. And it's been, there's this other podcast that I listen to called Story Lords, and they have a Patreon Discord. So if you pay them a Patreon thing every month, you're allowed to be in the Discord and like talk to other fans of the show. And so what I did was, there's a writing club in the Discord that we've all been contributing to every month, and I've basically just been using that as guerrilla marketing and milking for content. It's great. So we just like read the stories to each other on the show, and then I just post that on my feed. So I'm just literally like scraping fans of this other show to like listen to mine as well, and also be on it. And the reception has been pretty well so far.
Cool. I mean, that's the thing, is to find things you can do. It's, I guess some of the best things I've done have been, working with the people in like the horror podcasts and stuff.
Yes.
Getting them, because that was fun, because I like horror movies. I mean, I'd get on there and we'd be debating the pros and cons of whether In the Mouth of Madness is a Lovecraftian film or not. It's not. It's not. It is a Stephen King homage. It is not a Lovecraft homage. But
Stephen Lovecraft.
No, I mean, Stephen King did his own Lovecraft homages in his early days. He was definitely influenced, but the elements that appear in The Mouth of Madness are very Stephen King and not Lovecraft.
Right.
And I could name them down if I had to, but I mean, there's a Cujo dog, and there's a Children of the Corn group of children, and there's just so many very specific things that are way more Lovecrafty. I mean, way more King than Lovecraft. But that's just,
All right,
anyway.
We're almost out of time.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I could talk forever.
Yeah, no, you've been yapping this whole time, and I'm just enjoying it. Do you have any final words, any words of encouragement for fellow audio drama creators, or if you're maybe thinking about making one of your own, or any jokes to end on, or anything like that?
Well, for other creators, never ever let it stop you if you don't have a budget. Don't let anybody tell you that you should be ashamed for asking people to work on a volunteer basis, because that's something that you start to see. People are like, oh well, you have to pay your actors or else they're never going to work for you. It's like there are a lot of people out here who are doing this for shits and giggles, even on top of exposure. Exactly. And you can find people who are willing, and if people who only want to work for money, good, let them go work for money so you don't work with those people, but don't let them shame you because of it.
Right.
There's always amateur theater, and it would be lovely if there was actually an industry that was actually paying for this, but there isn't. So you're never going to get the start if you don't just do it. You can do it. You go get a free or a cheap program to work in, and then you just go to it, and it works, and you can do it. And, I'm more than happy to work with people on some basics of using Audacity, obviously. Yeah. But my version, and since it's free, I will distribute the version I have if you need a copy. But I've taught people before, and not computer savvy people even. But the big deal is just do it. Just do it. Write something. Write better the next time, Yep. Go find a show that you can join in and act or help them write or proofread for them if you want to be involved. There's so many different ways people can help out. And also, I have to say, if you ever talk about paying your actors, you'll hear me go, and don't forget to pay your sound person.
Yeah, I feel like more so than the actors, honestly, because if you have like an editor or someone designing the sound for this, that's the most important job of them all.
And that's the person who's putting in 10 times as much work as anyone else.
I would love to pay myself if that was possible.
Yeah, I did it all for my show, and I know how much time it is, and it's important for people to be appreciated for the work they do. I've seen more groups fall apart because they lost their sound person than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, and so that is, and people are like, no, I'm going to pay the actors. I'm doing the sound myself. I'm like, you're going to burn out.
Yep.
First. Just be aware. It took me 2 years to do it, 3 years to do it, but you will eventually, I guess it was 5 years, 2008 to 2013.
It's 5.
Anyway, it was something in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, 4 or 5 years to burn out, but you do burn out, and having a group that you can work with is better.
Yeah, working with others definitely helps. Like for writing, I recently, like last year or so, I was working on redoing completely from the ground up my first season.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because like as a proud member of the Fable and Folly Network, like I have a standard of quality I need to uphold, and my 2020 like childish voice with my blue snowball ice wasn't really making the cut, and a lot of people weren't sticking around for the rest of it, even after it got way better. So now my new method was my most recent season is I literally changed the dates on all the uploads of that new season and put it in the beginning.
Okay.
So I know I've been there. Like all of this advice, Julie, is 100% spot on. Like a lot of it resonated with me personally as well. That should be about it for today. Do you have any final quips or jokes?
Oh, I do wanna plug my cold read group.
Yes, I've been having a lot of fun there.
Oh, good. Yeah, twice a week. It's Wednesday at 6 p.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific
California time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Seattle, but
Seattle,
it's Pacific time.
Pacific.
We do a cold read on Discord. And you're welcome to invite people or send them to my way to invite. We love having anybody join in. It's all drop in. We love having new voices, old voices. We try really hard to work with people of all different levels. And we're happy to hear people and accommodate them, and we just try to keep it drama free, and it's not like an evaluation type situation. Nobody is like critiquing you afterwards unless you ask us to.
Right.
That's the point. It's just for practice to get comfortable reading in a group from a script you haven't seen before, which is really more of a skill for like physical acting. I mean, if you go into an audition as a physical actor, a lot of times you get handed a scene or something that you have to kind of do right there. And that's when cold reading comes in. You don't get that as much in audio drama, but it's still a good skill to have.
Exactly.
And it's just fun to do.
I'll drop a link, or there'll be an invite link in the episode description of this. If anybody is down to read some really well written scripts and have a good time with some new friends, this is the spot. This is I've been having a lot of fun with you guys over there in that server, and I feel like I've definitely landed a few roles at least in your heart so far. Once those eventually come out.
Yeah. And and writers, if you want to bring something that you feel is ready and you want to hear it in somebody else's voices, we're willing to do that too. So anyway, there's that. And don't forget to check out my show at 19nocturneboulevard.com. And that's the old website. That's such an old website, it could probably vote.
I believe there was Comic Sans in there as well. Is that true? Are the allegations true?
Yeah.